Hello everyone, welcome to our webinar today to discuss a very interesting topic on rooftop solar adoption trends in MSME segment in India. The event is organized by JMK Research, a boutique consulting firm focusing on renewable and e-mobility segments. The session is supported by Solis, a leading manufacturer of string inverters. Quickly on the format of the webinar. Next slide, please. The webinar will consist of interactive discussion with our eminent speakers, followed by question answer session. At the end, we will have 15 minutes for question answer session. Participants are welcome to submit their questions in the Q&A box at the bottom of the webinar window, and some of our panelists will be happy to answer that in parallel. Some of the key discussion points for today's session are, of course, we wanted to understand what are the new adoption trends for rooftop solar in MSME segment. What are the key adoption barriers for MSME segment in India? Some insights on policy and regulatory landscape that favor MSME segment adoption. Some innovative financing solutions to cater to this segment. New business models that can be explored. And lastly, going forward, what are the new prospects and opportunities that will emerge in this segment? And now to take on the discussion today, we have a very diverse mix of industry experts with us today. A quick intro of our experts here today. We have Mr. Sandesh Narayana Murthy, South Region Sales Manager from Solis. We have Mr. Ravinder Singh, Chief Solar Rooftop Business Tata Power. We have Mr. N.P. Ramesh, COO and Co-founder Orb Energy. And we have Mr. Shobhit Rai, Director Prozeal Infra. Thank you all to be part of this discussion today. Without taking much time now, we would like to start with you, Mr. Sandesh, first. As a leading global string inverter supplier, we want to know your views about the topic of discussion that we have today, and broadly what has been Solis experience in India over last few years. Over to you, Sandesh.
Thank you, Jyoti. I'll share my screen.
Yes.
So can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Sandesh here. Thank you for having me here. I'm from Solis Inverters. So I'll just quickly run through our company and our products which have been offered for MSME sector and as well as in India. And my topic to speak about is today about the rooftop solar adoption trends in MSME segment. So just to quickly run through our company, we founded our company in the year of 2005. We are one of the largest manufacturers for solar inverters. So, and we started our production in the year of 2009. From 2012, we started doing research and started our production. And we started supplying globally. And one of our major installations which happened in the year of 2015 is with the Eiffel Tower. And consistently, we got around 5 years awards from EUPD in the year of 2018. And we were the only first publicly listed company in Shenzhen Stock Exchange in the year of 2019. In 2015, we celebrated our anniversary in 2020. And due to increased demand, we started our production, the second manufacturing production in 2021. And we own assets of $457 million total assets, and we are having global employees of about 2,000 plus, and we are still growing. And in terms of global manufacturing capacities and the global market shares, so we stand number 4 in terms of market shares. It's global shipments. In terms of single phase, we stand number 2, and in terms of exports, we stand number 3. And we are having a huge market share in the US, UK, India, and other countries. And with all your support, in India, we stand number 2 in terms of supply ranking as per JMK Research and Analytics. We expect continue the same support from all of you. So we are financially very rich. In terms of revenues, we have grown from 2019 to 20 by 82.98%. In terms of net profit, we have grown by 151%. And we are having a rapid growth in shipments. We have achieved around 20 gigawatt of shipments globally. So these are some minor pictures of about factory. We are having a very advanced manufacturing facility. So these are some pictures, and extreme right, we are having our new construction facility, which is under construction and which will be operational very soon. And coming to our products, we are very flexible, and we adopt for the market trends. We are having wide range of inverters from 700 watt to 255 kilowatt, which will cater for all the segments from residential, C&I segment, MSME segment, and the utility segment. Recently, we have launched a new set of inverters, the 5G series inverters, which are having a very advanced level of technology. And we are also into energy storage portfolio. So this energy storage is an upcoming trend. We are already in line. So we are having the AC coupled inverters, which will be launched very shortly. And to see our generation from inverters, we are having all sorts of accessories with the data logging sticks. And for multiple inverters, we are having data logging boxes for ultra huge plants. And for MSME segment, in some states, we are having some export limit conditions for the net metering. So we are having an power management control. So this will limit the power exporting to the grid. And our inverters are certified from DNVGL for lifespan, which will work for 25 years of the entire project lifetime, which has been approved from DNVGL. And we are the most bankable Asian inverter brand as per Bloomberg. And we have received 5 consecutive awards from UPD. So the major topic here today is, which I want to add some points, is on the rooftop solar adoption trends in MSMEs. So according to me, importance of MSMEs for Indian economy, I just want to start and give a brief explanation about the MSMEs. So in India, MSMEs employ around 120 million population, which adds huge economy for Indian sector, Indian GDP, becoming the largest employment generating sector after agriculture sector. With approximately around 45 lakh MSMEs throughout the country are available in our country. It contributes to around 6.11% of GDP for manufacturing and 24.63% of GDP for our service activities. So MSME ministry is targeting of about 50% by 2025. The GDP will grow by 50%. And India moves ahead to become a 5 trillion economy with this economy with MSME segment. This will contribute to our 45% of our Indian exports. So MSMEs will provide employment opportunities, especially in Tier 2 and Tier 3 rural areas. So what in solar, what are the adoption trends for solar in MSME segment are? The most recent trends are about most of the MSMEs fall under categories like rubber industries, plastic, pharmaceuticals, automobiles, paper, food and beverage industries are the upcoming adoption trends for solar in MSME segment. And new business models, as we see due to COVID-19 outbreak and due to lockdowns, there is a new sector in the residential segment. The power consumptions are very high and increase. There is a huge opportunity for MSME to tap the group housing societies and independent residential villas. So this is a new upcoming new business model. And coming to the opportunities, there is a huge gap in the spinning mills where solar is getting adopted in a large scale. And with the rice mills, as we see, many rice mills are coming up with solar rooftops. Cashew factories are adopting for solar rooftops. We are having a huge installation base with the rice mills and cashew factories. And one more opportunities with MSMEs due to COVID-19, hospitals are drawing more power, and even the FMCG sector, companies are consuming more power. These sectors can be tapped for solar rooftops. And with the finance options, most of the MSMEs prefer attractive finance options like deferred payments, EMI schemes, and bank guarantees for performance of solar plants. So the key adoption barriers for MSME segment, there is a huge lot of key adoption barriers. One is there is an uncertainty in the state-wise policies. They aren't transparent. There are challenges in DISCOMs for signing the power purchase agreements, irrespective of the states. And there is lack of awareness in general about the solar rooftop is very low, especially for the MSME segment. They are hesitant to install solar rooftops because of perceived performance risks from the solar rooftops. There should be a huge marketing from government. And they are facing huge financial challenges. MSMEs find it difficult to meet the collateral requirements, especially they would have already taken loans for the machineries and the plants. They had already been committed for their other term loans. And DISCOMs are very reluctant to buy solar power. So they are majorly dependent on the thermal power plants. So this is an adoption barrier. Subsidies and incentives from DISCOMs have drastically reduced. Module prices and other project raw materials are on a higher trend. Hence, the project costs are on a higher side. So this is also a major adoption barrier. In domestic module manufacturing, there is a huge barrier for the production capacity due to limited resources. They are provided with sufficient. They should be provided with sufficient incentives for domestic module manufacturing. Due to COVID-19 outbreak, the industrial segment has not grown to an extent. So this is also a major barrier for MSME segment to adopt for solar rooftop. So please follow us on other social media like on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and even on LinkedIn. Just contact us for any product updates. Just follow us for the product updates. Over to you, Jyoti.
Thank you, Sandesh, for setting up the context for our discussion today. Let's hear out from the views of our other panelists now. Mr. Ravinder, my next question is from you, actually. Tata Power has been, the biggest rooftop player, and we have heard recently that Tata Power has, partnered with SIDBI to cater to MSME financing. So we would like to know a little bit more details about how you think the, in this segment, the potential is there, and what are the new opportunities that, solar developers can tap into this segment. Over to you, Ravinder.
Thank you, Jyoti. Okay, let me start with saying that, the SME segment is an underserved segment of the market. But having said that, for Tata Power, because we have taken the time and the trouble to put up an on-the-ground sales and service infrastructure, it constitutes around 20-22% of our overall revenues. All right. And the challenges with the SME segment was previously the major challenge, which was the regulatory challenge, was the net metering and the uncertainty about net metering. And, that was causing a kind of a pause in the decision-making process for the SMEs. All right. I think that uncertainty with the recent announcement by the ministry is likely to go away. How the state DISCOMs implement it is yet unknown, but at least it takes at a conceptual level, it takes away a certain degree of uncertainty. The reason why net metering is important for SMEs is because SMEs typically don't work 7 days a week. They would work possibly 6 days a week. They are also shut down on national holidays. So on an average, they're working 300 days in a year. And if for 65 days, which is roughly 20% of the days, that energy is not being utilized, it impacts their economics. So that's the regulatory part of it. The second part of it, which is there, is like Sandesh said, the challenge has been that, many of them are, all of their existing assets are already collateralized. and then buying a system, and with the traditional lending institutions asking for a collateral is then becomes challenging for them. Okay. And that was a huge barrier for them, which is why we came up with this arrangement with SIDBI. Okay. Where, you know, we are giving them some innovative, non collateralized funding. Having said that, there are still challenges. It's not as if that program has taken off like a house on fire. It's not. Okay. And what we are now looking at is we are looking at models, different business models. See, basically, from a financing point of view, an SME needs three things. Okay. It needs ideally non collateralized financing, number one. Number two, it wants a longer tenor, which, given the nature of the SME's existence, is a challenge. Okay. And the third thing is they want interest rates which are less than 10%, ideally. And the fourth thing they want is they want, you know, instant approval or almost instant approval with minimum paperwork hassles. So, quite frankly, you know, that is still not being addressed by the various financing options which we are offering currently. Having said that, we are looking to address some of those needs in a structured manner, given the large institution which Tata Power is. So we would likely come up with more innovative financing options in the short to medium term to address the needs of the segment. Jyoti, that's what I have.
Sure, Ravinder. Ravinder, do you want to still make some pointers? What are those new innovations that you are looking at?
I think it would be premature for me to say that, but needless to say, I have articulated the needs of the SME customers. The products which we will be offering would be focused on addressing those needs.
Thank you. Thank you, Ravinder. You have summarized it really well, the key problems that are there. Okay, let's hear it from other player. Mr. Ramesh, we would like to know your views now. We have heard that Orb Energy is, is active in multiple segments of the solar value chain. You are a module supplier. You are also setting up projects, and you're also providing financing. And so from you, Mr. Ramesh, we would like to know your experiences and your views on this topic today. Over to you, Mr. Ramesh.
Yeah, so thank you, Jyoti, and thank you all for giving me this opportunity to speak on this very interesting subject. Orb Energy, as such, is a company which does most of its business in the SME segment, and we started about 15 years back, and primarily we understand the SME business to a great extent. We ourselves being an SME. So we understand what an SME customer goes through. And many of our offerings that we do today is learnings which we have learned along the way. So how we look at the SME segment is that, as the previous panelist said, it is an underserved segment. It is a segment which always wants more money to keep growing. And it is also a segment which looks at cheaper ways to run their business. And solar fits here quite well. And if I were to say about 2 or 3 years back, maybe the awareness level of solar was not that high. But today I would find that the awareness levels have improved. Most of them know that solar basically helps them reduce their electricity bills. But having said that, it is not that everybody is putting solar on their roofs. And I find I think most of the points that were raised earlier are valid points as far as SMEs are concerned. I also find there are other points, like in most cases, the SME owner, the bandwidth for the SME owner is very limited. He has to run his business. Many a time, the proprietor, who is also the technical guy, is the financial guy, and his bandwidth is very limited. And you have to understand or appreciate that solar system for most of these SMEs would be the single biggest investment they would have done in their plant. It would be sometimes bigger than most of the machineries they have bought. And that would mean that they need to spend time. And these guys generally don't engage consultants. They try to take their decision on their own, and so they take time. And sometimes I've found that the proposition is very good, they would like to do it, but then it gets delayed, and it gets delayed by 3 months, 6 months, primarily because he's not able to prioritize his requirements, and his needs are more driven by his own businesses. The other point, which is always that solar is capital intensive, these systems are capital intensive, so financing becomes an important aspect. And what we saw is that, we were dependent on banks. We found that it is not so easy, it takes time, and the customers generally get put off if the banks take too long a time. Collaterals are not so easy for them to spare, rather they would like to use it for their own businesses. So we came out with an innovative, at that time it was innovative, it still continues to do well for us. It is a non-collateral financing scheme. We do the assessment ourselves. We generally, if all documents are given, we have a turnaround time of 7 to 10 days. And that's the time period with which we go back. We almost 40% of our business today comes through financing. So financing has worked for us, it's core. Like my previous panelist said, SME owners would always like lower interest rates. They would want to compare with the banks, but without collateral, it's very difficult to get those kind of rates. For us also, it depends on what's our source of funds and what interest rates we can get on those. So that's a given. But I think more or less we are able to bring this financing option to the customer's table, which makes them look at it in a more favorable manner, and decision making gets speeded up quite a bit. Yeah, and I think the areas which maybe where the government could help us is by having a policy for 5 years rather than having this yearly change arounds, with each and every DISCOM having yearly cutoffs and not doing PPAs with the customer. And these kind of uncertainties really puts the customer off, because what they are worried about is, will there be any retrospective impact? Will tomorrow the electricity board come back and say that, sorry, what we signed doesn't hold good? So there are concerns. There are these kind of concerns, which the only way you can get away is by saying that those things will not happen. Or secondly, having a slightly longer term policy. You may have a policy for 5 years, and then it is not discussed before that. That would be my view as far as the policy side is concerned. I think otherwise, I feel that the business would grow. The other thing which can help growth is also if there can be attractive tax benefits, which are, even though there is accelerated depreciation benefit, that may not be really good enough for many of the SMEs, because they may not be profit making. And if you are not profit making, you can't take the accelerated depreciation. Instead, if there can be attractive, some other means by which tax benefits are given to them, or some sort of financial incentives are given, need not be subsidies, but as per kilowatt hour generated or per, those are things which will encourage them to move forward. And I think the government's target of 40 gigawatts, obviously the way it is going to take us another 5, 7, 10 years, maybe 5 years to reach that kind of targets. But I would feel if there is some intervention required in order to speed this up. Yeah. Okay, thank you. That's all from my side as of now.
Thank you, Ramesh, for elaborating your experiences. We will come back with few more follow-up questions. But before that, let's hear from you, Mr. Shobhit, what has been your experience, specific to this segment. What do you think are there going to be any new business models that are going to tap into this segment, this huge potential in this segment?
Thanks, Jyoti, for the invitation. I think, the fellow panelists have already covered most of the points. I'll just, not take much time, but, focus on the new business model. So I'll just like to highlight that, currently as MSMEs are not in terms of solar installation, people think more from the perspective of, doing it on the rooftops. So I would say that, in many states where the policies have been very favorable for MSME sectors, probably, we should be thinking more about doing projects on an open access model. And, if the policies are favorable, if the state governments removes the cap of having open access plants of more than 1 megawatt, and, even somebody with a lower sanction load of, 500, 600 kilowatts are able to do open access projects on a captive model. So I think, that will substantially improve the overall, energy consumption from green sources, and also significantly, improve on the generation, as we always know that, that you will always get a better generation on rooftops, sorry, on ground mounted against rooftops. So I think, that is something that, I would be keen looking at, especially in few states where we operate. There have been, good policies for open access, and people, MSMEs have been very interested, because, those, I'm talking about those profitable MSMEs where, there have been, they have good loads, they can consume a good amount of power. So, that is something which definitely reduces their overall operating cost as well. So that is something that I feel that, could be another boost for MSME in many other states where currently policies are not favorable. Secondly, as far as the again, we always talk about financing, whether it is in terms of rooftop, or whether it is in terms of open access ground mounted projects. So I think the major reason that I see, when we interact with the clients, that they tend to delay their decisions, or, they tend to typically stop the project or keep the projects on hold, is just because they are not able to get competitive financing. And obviously, people are looking forward to non-recourse kind of financing, for which, if a separate pool of funds have been created by lenders, especially the nationalized banks, where they are specially giving non-collateralized based funding to all these projects, irrespective of the credit rating. Of course, the financial due diligence does matter, but in terms of, since MNRE has also now taken the solar project financing under the special sector financing. So in this particular scenario, if a pool of fund can be created by banks only for these kind of projects to support MSME, the way different relief packages, or bailout packages are given to different industries segment as such, where we could see that we will be able to achieve targets what the government of India has set in front of us. And also we would be seeing more and more MSME trying to use green power. Adoption of green power would definitely improve on this. Yeah, so I think that's it from my end.
Thank you, Shobhit. I will come back with some few follow-up questions on what you mentioned. So Ravinder, I have one question for you. We have seen specifically in MSME segment, the most of the solar projects are built on CAPEX model. Why OPEX model is not preferred, and is this because of the credit rating of these MSMEs? Any insights on this topic, and any suggestions how this can be making a lucrative opportunity for the OPEX model?
The OPEX model typically is for 10 years plus. Okay. And given the nature of the MSME, where the sustainability of MSME is a big unknown, it is perceived to be a financial risk. Okay. So that is why this option of, this non-collateralized financing for a period of, ranging from 3 to 5 years, maybe at a stretch 7 years, is what everybody is trying to do. There are other options also, like the subscription model, which we are actively exploring, where, with minimum upfront capex, or maybe minimal buyback value, we could tailor the AMIs in a form and manner that it's equivalent to the electricity savings. His monthly outflow is equal to the energy cost savings which he gets. So clearly there is a lot of work to be done. Clearly this is the biggest opportunity in the rooftop domain. but OPEX model to my mind would be a challenge. And there are some programs which we intend running with our own capital, by the way, to test out some of these hypotheses. And that's why I'm saying it's early days yet for me to give you the specifics. But I also personally feel, given the uncertain nature of the SME's long-term sustainability, if I can use that word, sustenance, actually, it doesn't make sense to have a longer tenor financing schemes, which is why the OPEX model has not really taken off in this segment. Having said that, on a case-to-case basis, we do evaluate those options also, by the way. So we don't have a hard and fast rule, but in general, what I said earlier holds true.
Right, Ravinder. I have another point to add on to here. Like, if the OPEX model is, gaining share, higher share every year, and we are aware that all the good credit-worthy customers are already being tapped by this. So how, possibly what could be the various assessment parameters that these OPEX players can look at for this segment? What are the key things that, maybe 2-3 things that you want to point out that should be? And I'm sure I've heard this, that many developers are having their own credit assessment, models with them, and they are evaluating these things.
Look, the creamy layer is almost gone. Okay, and that's why you see most of the large developers operating in the rooftop space have already gone to the group captive open access mode. Okay, and pretty soon that is also going to dry up. But group captive open access brings with it its own set of challenges, so on and so forth. In an ideal world, what has to be done is that you have to tie up with a large financing entity. It cannot be a bank. I think bank, particularly whether it's a nationalized bank, to some extent even privatized banks, the process is too cumbersome. The process is too slow. Okay, and if they were going to take 60 days and 90 days to decide whether you're going to give 1 crore or 1.5 crore worth of loan, it's not worth it. It sucks up everybody's bandwidth. We also have, by the way, arrangements with nationalized banks, but it's a challenge. It's a challenge operationalizing those at the back end, and ultimately it's only those segment of the customers who have an existing financing relationship with that particular PSU bank who get it. Private sectors, we are exploring some alliances with those private sectors, and we are also trying to see if we could give them some additional first loss default guarantees, whether that would work. Okay, but ultimately, you would need to have a product, and ORB, I must commend ORB, and we actually track ORB quite carefully as to what they do in the marketplace regarding their financing products. They are probably the only players who have done some innovation in this space. The other person who's done innovation, that's not really the topic of discussion in the residential space, is Sunroof. At least they've tried to come up with financing products which are unique to the rooftop segment. And I think that's the need of the hour. We are, like I said, actively exploring those options, and we are at the pilot evaluation phase. But I don't think so. If we go to any of the financing entities, whether it's an NBFC, a PSU bank, or a private bank, that you would get an option which would meet each of those 4 criteria which I listed out earlier. So we would need to do that as an industry. We would need to do that. And I again commend ORB for the good work they've done in this domain. Quite frankly, we are laggards as compared to them, but we are trying to make up lost ground. But yes.
Thanks, Ravinder. I think with Tata as a brand, there is no limit to the scale that you can achieve. Yes. But let's hear it out from Mr. Ramesh. Ravinder is, saying a lot of good words. So, Mr. Ramesh, I just want to, point out maybe 2 to 3 things why Orb is a success case. What makes you a good success case with the kind of financing product that you have introduced.
Yeah, thank you, Ravindra. I think it was nice hearing from you. Financing is not an easy subject, and that's, if you go to a banker and he would immediately say that, oh, this is a very difficult financing thing to do. And so, unfortunately, we are not bankers. So we have nothing to do with banking. And so it became easier for us to look at these kind of options. The most important thing to look at is the customer initially puts a down payment, and after that, his EMI is always lesser than the saving. So he would anyhow pay that to the electricity board, right? So if he can get depreciation, even his down payment is covered with that. So most of our options or most of our proposals are tailored to customers not having to spend more money than what they would have already otherwise spent. And that's very important. I would say that we will definitely, with our model also, we cannot reach all the SMEs, because we would look at their financials. We would look at, obviously there is a certain level of financials we look at, not to the extent what an OpEx player would look at, because they are looking at a longer period. We are looking at a shorter tenure. I think it's also to answer the previous question where somebody asked as to why OpEx is not considered, is basically, if you go to an SME and ask him, okay, what's your visibility over the next 10 years? He would say, maybe I can tell you over 3 years or 4 years, but I can't give you more than that. And when he cannot tell about his own business beyond that, how do you expect a company to be financing it over a longer period of time? What you need to realize is payback periods are today around 3.5 to 4 years. So if the customer is not paying more than what he was otherwise would have paid to electricity board, I think it is not a bad deal for the customer, because he's not anyhow paying more than what he would have paid. Plus, after the tenure, it is free power for him, right? The only thing to look at is he has continued service infrastructure so that his system continues to generate power on an ongoing basis. And we have customers now for about 9 years, 8 years. And we do go back to them taking AMCs and services, because that's somehow that's how you keep them earning the benefits out of this product, what they bought. Yeah, that's all from my side.
Thank you, Mr. Ramesh. I understand, Mr. Ramesh, that all the customers are different, and all your maybe products that you are, whatever tenor and interest rates that you are for the financing thing that you're giving would be quite different. But I would still want to know some numbers from you, the typical tenor rate and typical interest rate for how you plan this.
The tenors, tenors can vary from 2 years going all the way to 5 years. We generally, very rarely we would do a 6 years. Unless the EMI is not working out. The interest rates, you have to remember, it is non-collateralized loans, and we are typically around the 12% range, primarily because it is non-collateralized finance. And because if you ask an SME owner, and if he were to take any loan from a unorganized sector, he would be paying, or from an NBFC, he would be paying 14 to 15% as of now, even though the bank interest rates have dropped. So a 12% interest on this works. But please remember, the EMI that I'm talking also includes this interest rate. So it's not right to just look at the interest rate, because the EMI is anyhow lower than the savings that he's getting. So it is a win-win for him, right? So that's how we have to look at it. So actually, it is not the interest rate which dictates this. It's about how is your EMI structured.
Right. And typically, what is the down payment in terms of percentage?
We go from 0 to 25.
0 to 25%. Okay. Those are interesting numbers to know, Mr. Ramesh. Thank you so much for giving that information. Okay, now my next question is to you, Mr. Sandesh. We believe that Solis has been doing really well in India market, as has been highlighted with your presentation as well. So specifically, for these key industrial belts, in the southern region, maybe Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. What has been your experiences, in terms of sales, and is there any impact of COVID, any short-term impact of COVID that you foresee in this?
Yes, Jyoti. See, in south, down south, especially in Tamil Nadu, the spinning mills and the rice mills and the cashew factories in coastal Karnataka are implementing rooftop solar, and there is no much impact due to COVID. There was an impact in the phase one of COVID, but not really in the second wave. The business is really good. We are very good in numbers that shows in your analysis. We stand number 2 in our shipments. Our major market is yes, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu.
Thank you, Mr. Sandesh.
What do you?
Yeah, Shobit, I have this question for you now. Shobit, I hope you are still there. Yes, Shobit.
Yeah, Jyoti, I'm
So yes, you have mentioned that the MSME segment can look at, at the group captive and open access model, but you have heard from Ravinder and Ramesh maybe what are the challenges for that. So how do you think that that model can be, workable, can be made workable for the MSME segment?
I mean, since power is a regulated subject, and every state has their own policy, so I think the policy will play a very critical role in deciding for the MSMEs whether since as I mean MSME segment or could range, the various factories could range from 100 kilowatt to maybe 5-10 megawatts as well. So probably in most of the states that the state governments do not allow open access power for any factories where the contract demand is less than 1 megawatt. So I think that is the regulation will have to be a little I mean has to be changed in states where it doesn't allow for this particular activities to open access to be picking up especially for the MSME. I think and another important fact, clients in the markets are very cost sensitive. In order to ensure that the solar remains the cheapest source of power, the capital investment that goes into solar has to be controlled, for which innovation has to be done in terms of optimizing on the BOS cost, because anyways solar panels is being regulated by the Chinese supplier, and for which we have limited control. But I think as far as the other items are concerned, which includes your structure and the other BOS items, without compromising on the technicals, innovative methods and also the turnaround time of the project has to be reduced in order to reap maximum benefits and also give confidence to MSME people that solar being modular.
Shobit, I think we are having some lag with your network. But yeah, we broadly got the gist of your
for
comment.
a scale of 1 times are typically 4 to 5 months. If sorry, Jyoti, actually I am at an airport, and there's some issue with the network, so sorry for that.
No problem, Shobit. I think we got the gist of your message. I think we can continue with the other panelists. Ravinder, the next important question I have for you is, what kind of policy and regulatory level changes that you think are important that can help this segment? I want to add one more pointer to it.
Look, I think currently in the short term, till the time energy storage becomes a commercially viable option, net metering is obviously a critical step. Like I said, most of these SMEs work 6 days a week, so on and so forth, which makes net metering a key this thing. The other thing is that you can't have these policy flip-flops. I think Mr. Ramesh also mentioned that you need policy stability at least for 5 years, so that's also very important. And I think those are the two major things. I will never put anything like subsidy and other things into the game, simply because any business which stands on sustainable subsidy is never a sustainable business. And I'm not a great fan of using, yes, tax breaks, yes, to the extent it can be possible. But having said that, there are certain micro segments within the SME domain which have subsidy. You have the cold storage chain, which get this subsidy from National Horticultural Board. Okay, so those are energy specific, those are industry specific subsidy programs which are there. At this point of time, the only segment which is getting this subsidy from National Horticulture Board is cold storage. I'm not aware textile, ginning, and others. And I think, more than the policy, people, SMEs, we find are becoming smarter. And I'm maybe, going a slightly off track and just expanding and warming to the subject. What is there is we find that SMEs no longer want to negotiate with us on a one basis. They formulate a group and then negotiate with us en masse. Okay, which actually kind of makes it easier. And it also makes it easier as we move forward with some of the various financing models which we are trying to bring into play. I think that actually kind of, on a portfolio basis, the risk can be less. So we are definitely looking at it. One major trend we find is that now many of these micro segments, whether it's an dal and oil segment, whether it's a marble industry, they approach us and say, oh, don't look at us as a 50 kilowatt or 100 kilowatt customer. Look at us like a 2 megawatt customer. So that's also changing. So, but specifically policy related, I think till the time in the short term, maybe for another 3 to 4 years, till the time energy storage becomes a commercially viable option, I think the only thing which is required is stability of policies, and net metering is something which would be required. That's my very limited viewpoint, in fact.
Right, Ravinder, but I again want to take your views on this recent Ministry of Power document that's been released, where they have given provision of gross metering, net metering, as well as net milling, and they have even limited the system sizes to 500 kilowatt. Do you think the states are going to follow this limitation of 500 kilowatt, or they will continue with what they have already, the 1 megawatt, 2 megawatt limitation that they already have? What is your, it can be your personal opinion. I wanted to
It's my
understand
personal
from.
opinion that states are going to be, discoms are going to be a tough nut to crack. So I'm a bit pessimistic that it's going to happen in reality. Look at how quickly, the day the government notification was announced, within 7 days, some of the states came out with a notification. Okay, I don't think so they're going to show the same zeal. But I think, having said that, the new Rights of Consumer Bill is a far-reaching document, and I would like to build on what Shobit was also saying. What is going to actually happen is that as more and more of these market exchanges which are going to come up, the day-ahead market, the green term market, and all of this, if the government can relax the rules regarding the open access size being limited to 1 megawatt and above, there could be a lot of merchant capacity which could be set up by, say, developers such as ourselves, okay, to serve some of these clients. Because what will actually happen is it would still be difficult to make the numbers work. That still needs to be seen. But in some states, at least, the option of having to sell the green certificates or the sustainability certificates in the open market and getting some value out of the dam, out of them, could make the economics work, at least in some of the states. But then again, it's a moving goalpost, and what I'm saying is that we just have these policy flip-flops where we go from one extreme to another. We had a net metering policy which was totally against discoms. Okay, we came up with a policy which was totally against the consumers or the EPC developers or service providers. We actually need to work very, very closely with all the stakeholders to make sure that everybody gets a share of the pie. So this new virtual PPA concept, the virtual net metering concepts, these are all things which need to happen. But I personally believe that ultimately this whole energy industry and the green energy industry is going to move into where the customer is going to have a choice. So there would be options which would open up for even the SME users. Now the question is, when do they open up? Okay, will it open up next year? Unlikely. Is it likely to open up maybe in 5 years? Possible. Okay, more realistic I feel is it's 7 to 10 years. Okay, so I think whatever it is the government wants to do, if the prices of solar continue to fall, even if 20% of the time the energy produced is not being consumed, given the current pricing, it possibly increases the payback by another half year or 1 year. And if we can somehow mitigate that through some innovative or creative financing solutions, this market is there to be serviced.
Thank you, Ravinder. I think that summarizes well what the problem is. And I think all of us are aware about the issues that are on the policy side, which are getting, but we are hopeful that there are new models and products that are being built which can tap into this segment. We can take some questions from our audience now. Mr. Ramesh, I have one question maybe for you. How helpful do you think is the arrangement between SBI and World Bank for rooftop financing been? Do you think your customers can avail this facility themselves? What's your take on this financing arrangement? Do you think it's an accessible thing to a lot of your customer base, or it's just only for tier 1 developers only?
We have found some of our customers who did take the loan through the SBI, and basically they look at the interest rate. It is still time consuming. It is not fast. And sometimes they do, and most of the times they do still expect collaterals for it. So the only attraction is that it comes at 8.5%. We did have few of our customers who took that. But then, it's a question of A, you have to be an SBI customer. B, you have to be willing to wait for 60 to 90 days. C is you already have a collateral, or you have to put up something new, all these conditions. So not many SMEs would fit that. Maybe the medium scale industries may fit that. I have not found many small scale industries being able to take that. So that has been my, and I think most of the World Bank money also went for the big, the REVA project and other projects which happened around not much came through the rooftop. And what I think even then it is see, all these schemes, whether the PNB scheme or the SBI scheme, all are welcome, because at the end of the day, you are doing something which actually helps a customer get a loan which is at attractive rates as far as they are concerned. But then, and I don't think we as such cannot change the banking system by telling them, it won't be faster just because we would like it to be. Those would remain the same. And it's also one of the reasons why we went in with our own method of financing. It's not that we want to capture all the customers through the financing.
Right. So turnaround time, I think, is the thing that a lot of customers want it to be a little early.
I would second that. It's just too time consuming. It sucks up a lot of bandwidth. So, we try to facilitate that for our customers, but we find that it sucks up our sales teams bandwidth also.
Right, right.
So
Mr. Ramesh, I have one more question for you, actually, from the audience. As per your experiences, which are the typical industries that are adopting solar now? Do you want to highlight whether there is textiles is there, or any specific manufacturing unit, which is the new, which is adopting the solar now?
I think, yeah, textiles to a certain extent. I wouldn't say all types. Again, you'll have to know the different textile, ginning, yarn, cloth. You'll have to understand all that. And the ones which are exporting may not be that great as of now. They have had their not very good times. The food industry is pretty hot. They are one industry which didn't get affected by COVID at all. As such, according to me, made more money during COVID than anybody else. So they're hot, and that's why you find the rice and rice industry and other industries. Packaging is not bad. So there are some segments which have done well. Again, as I said, the criteria is electricity is needed by everybody, and once you know that electricity is the number 2 or number 3 cost for the customer, it is prerogative for him to look at what are the ways in which he would reduce his cost. Because look at it, the prices all around, whether it is solar or whether it is any other product, is only coming down. So the squeeze on the pricing is always there for any industry. The margins are dropping. So the only way you can improve your bottom line is reducing your cost. And solar gives you an option to reduce your cost. So I would say that it is good for every industry to look at solar as an option to reduce their cost.
Right, Mr. Ramesh. My next question is actually to both you and Ravinder. Do you think this MSME segment is now more aware about the sustainability green goals, or cost saving is still the prime thing that they would want?
I think cost saving will be the number 1, number 2, and number 3 goals. Right. Along with it, if green saving happens, well and good. Yeah, that's how everybody looks at. I don't think it is going to change.
No, I actually specifically asked this because you are the people who are directly dealing with customers. We as consultants and researchers are pushing a lot, like sustainability targets and everything is there. But what is the on-ground reality? That's important to know. Okay, and my last question for the session is for you, Mr. Sandesh. We wanted to know from you, what has been your experience in last 1 year, and what do you think the market is going to go up in next 1 year for you? Do you think these MSME segment can be be part of your portfolio? What is your expectation going forward for next 1 or 2 years with the rooftop solar market in India?
Thank you, Jyoti. Yes, definitely. As you mentioned that, definitely it will be a very attractive option for MSMEs to go for solar rooftops. As mentioned by Mr. Ramesh, they are well expertised in selling rooftop solar in attractive finance options. So COVID is not going to go in next definitely for 2 or 3 years. Definitely there will be lockdowns, and this will indirectly will opt for solar because of the high consumption in food, especially in the food industry. So definitely MSME will be the major role for the rooftop solar.
Thank you, Sandesh. I think there are so many interesting questions that have been put up by the audience. We'll try to answer some bit of them, individually. If you can send it over email to us. And we would like to close this session now. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us for this webinar today. Thank you to all the panelists for sharing such wonderful, enriching insights and your experiences with the market. Special thanks to Solace for supporting us in this webinar. The recording of this session will be available on our website, www.jmkresearch.com shortly. Have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you, Jyoti.
Thank you, Jyoti.
Thank you.